I've made $1 million without even trying. To me with the intro. And this is coming from my wife and I were running some of the numbers today for like my personal brand whilst we were driving back from some lunch, some hot pot, and something that it hadn't really clicked, which is like, you've done around about at least $1 million purely through your personal brand over the years. So since starting up, like, when did I start? Like 3.5 years ago, my business, my business alone. So that's directly through my personal brand, not even assets, passive income, other investments, Yana's business, like other businesses that we've invested in together. We're just talking about my personal brand, which is pretty cool to think, and I'm very grateful for, because it's like, it sounds kind of foreign to say, to be like, me, I've done that. I feel like, and this is what Yana noted, like, you haven't really necessarily been like trying. It's not like I've been forcing it and being like, I need to make $1 million. I'm just like, well, whatever happens. And the thing is, we did a lot of stuff, and the reason it hasn't felt really like trying, well, at times I have tried to force it. It's just like stagnated in the short term business wise. But the biggest thing is, like, we planted seeds for like who we were in order to get there, let them grow, and then set systems in place as well. And it's just happened and kept happening. And bear in mind, like, for my own story, for me, I've done this. I like started the personal brand side of things with less than 200 followers on Instagram. So it was like nothing. Like, I was not an online guy at all. So this is just to give you an idea of like, you don't gotta have some crazy thing to start, and a fair bit of that had been done before I blew up to like on Instagram, like the 13K and that we've got now, which I'm very grateful for. But a fair bit of that had been done prior to that. Sitting around, like, I think before things really got, the pants coming off, he's serious now. Before things got more serious per se, by way of the online following and that, we were doing, well, I had like 1,400 or so followers, and we'd hit some big numbers already. This guy just got set on. Your head got set on. So being able to talk about that is pretty cool, because when you just set these things in place, find your motivation, what drives you, what your why is, and then you're able to set the systems in place. Your whys, not just one why, because there's not normally just one why driving us. It's a multitude of values that, if you can align all of those things, they're just going to point you towards exactly where you're called to go. Combine that with like constantly developing that belief and like doing that identity work, which is why I'm so big on that. At its core, that's what a lot of good coaching is. Then you just kind of set it up whereby it just happens, and it just keeps happening. And honestly, because of some of the stuff I've been talking about recently in my other content, it's like, in spite of some of my best efforts subconsciously to sabotage that, you're not able to stop it really, because you've already set that stuff in place, which I'm very thankful for. And I was thinking about it, like, when that question, when that realization came up, it's like, where has all of that money gone? Like, where has it gone? And most of it, not just from mine, has actually gone into investing in ourselves. So obviously the day-to-day, paying for day-to-day stuff and like maintaining, but also we're very heavily invested in moving forwards for our businesses. So we've always invested in things that are going to either create us passive income or develop skills within us, or help us develop the skills, the attributes, the beliefs, or like the identity required to go even further, to like lay that long-term foundation, so that even when we kick back and chill sometimes, which I have been for a little while, it just keeps growing. Everything keeps growing, keeps abounding, and you have a lot of fun with it, is one of our biggest things. And that's where it also doesn't really feel like work, like you're not trying. Like, even with martial arts, I don't feel like I'm trying particularly hard to get good. I just am. You know, it's not like I have to force it and be like, oh, I've got to do this. Like, I'm excited and I'm driven to go, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, this is the next thing that I'm going to do. But I'm never like, I have to do this. Like, oh, I'm nothing without this. I'm just like, oh, I love doing this thing, so let's do it. Yeah. But as to where most of it has gone, into investing in ourselves, and that's what I believe has allowed us to make so much progress into the multi-millions within, you could you could say pretty short time span, 3.5 years or so. And in that time, I believe, I'd say we've invested close to at least around 500K into ourselves. So if you look at that, pretty worthwhile return on investment, investing 500K in yourself to make multiples of millions and like set the foundation to keep doing that and keep growing for the rest of your life. I'd say pretty good trade, to be honest. And my wife was also relating it to like martial arts and, well, like weight training and like my business. All kind of, this is why I say they're all a thinking man's game. They all relate. It's all the art of being man, because I don't try particularly hard with my weight training either. I don't try particularly hard with my martial arts. I just have systems in place. I just have things, and I have this innate identity within myself that this is just who I am. So as a result, it just all unfolds very naturally, very seamlessly. And the only times when it actually becomes difficult and where there's a lot of resistance is when I try to force it to be something that it's not. You know, when I start looking at other people and going like, oh, I actually need to do it this way, because it's like, this is why it's so important to acknowledge your own achievements and what you've done, and acknowledge yourself as enough. Because if you don't, then you start looking at other people's stuff and be like, oh no, because I'm not enough, they're higher than me, I need to do that instead. But if it's not authentic for you, then you end up just diluting yourself. And as a result, when you dilute yourself, your business follows suit, your life follows suit. Like the fulfillment, the joy that you have in life falls away accordingly. The business tends to trail off as a result. But like we've said before, I've said this word so many times now it's sounding funny, when you've got the systems in place, everything just like keeps building, keeps abounding. You're essentially making a new floor every time. So we talk about the ceiling a lot. They are so cute, Taronga. Yeah, they are so cute. Look at these two boys. But yeah, we talk about the ceiling a lot, like, oh, this is your ceiling, your capacity here. But another thing to consider, I've been listening to some stuff about this recently, is your floor. Your floor is the place that you'll always fall back down to. And so instead of considering, oh, let's push the ceiling, just push the ceiling, consider we want to be raising our floor. So this is like bringing us up here, so that if you can make your current ceiling your floor, this is like the lowest you can fall down to. And that comes from a place of having skills and having systems in place, because then when that's the case, even if you fall to the level of, it's like people say you fall to the level of your habits. And yeah, that tends to be the case. Are you live on something else? Yes, I'm live on Instagram and TikTok. I'm tripling up actually. I got the Instagram, I got the TikTok, and I have my YouTube camera on here. So yeah, that's really the biggest thing when it comes down to doing all this stuff in a very seamless yet enjoyable way is, well, like I said, setting the standard with your systems and your identity. Like those two things alone, it can sound overly simple, but simple is what gets done. So when you can keep things simple, that's when they actually get done. I don't know if you can see this guy. He's causing a ruckus on the side here. Yeah. And it's pretty cool to have done it all through something that I am passionate about. Honestly, looking at that stuff and talking about it with my wife, we've had some cool realizations as of late, or even just today, looking at some stuff that are like just big breakthroughs by way of all this stuff. And it's like, wow, we got here whilst having this stuff, and it served us really well to have these beliefs. And then we can go up from there. It's pretty cool. So I'm like, wow, pretty exciting. Sky's the limit. I've got Ola Papa from Ash Trevino Doppelganger. And how do you feel about Alex Pereira last? Look, I'm a little bit because, it's the Sharma. I'm a fan of the Sharma. But I'm more than any one individual fighter. I love the game. So I love mixed martial arts as a whole. I love fighting. I love martial arts as a whole. So I think it's pretty cool the way that he actually shut a lot of that stuff down, or how he shut a lot of Pereira's game down, from the hand fighting to even the takedown attempts. I think something that a lot of people overlook is like, they say, 11 failed takedowns, but it's like, well, he wasn't necessarily trying to go for the takedowns, but it introduces the takedown threat. When you level change, it's like whenever he moved, Pereira would have to either back up or have the threat of the takedown there. And if you think about we all think of Pereira's main weapons, the low kick, the low kick, the calf kick off of the rear leg, if he's in orthodox, and the left hook. So that the takedown threat alone will shut that off, because if someone's going to take you down, where are your hands going to be? They're not going to be up here. They're going to be down here. Like, you have to keep the hands down here in order to sprawl or stuff a takedown properly. Your hands got to be part of your line of defense, especially if they're that close in, or at least getting you distance. So it kind of shuts down that left hook, one of Pereira's main things, as well as the hand fight was shutting down that left hook as well. So it's beautiful to see stuff like that, and I think that really made a difference, because Ankalaev looked fast, man. He looked fast. It was just those feints and being able to set stuff up, seeing his opportunities, making his reason, pop, pop. With some of that stuff, he stunned Pereira at least twice from what I saw, and it's just really cool to see. As much of a Pereira fan as I am, I'm more a fan of the game as a whole. So really good times, really good fun watching all of that stuff there. We got the dogs playing in the back, reenacting some of that wrestling. Good times. Good times. Well, yeah. Yeah, was there anything else by way of what I did with my business stuff there? I don't think there was a whole lot. So, just by way of that stuff, I might leave it for a bit and then cut it out if I need to. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, I think, feel free to ask away. I might wrap up in a sec. But yeah, that's one of the primary things with regards to being intelligent about things. Well, just like how Ankalaev was intelligent with that stuff, the martial arts stuff, you got to be intelligent with your business, your life, the way you set everything up and the way you run it all, and be intentional about, well, I guess investing in yourself was one of the other main takeaways from today, from what I've been chatting about, because, well, I mean, that's just my journey. I mean, you invest in yourself in some way, shape or form. You either pay with your time, your money, your energy, or a mix of the three. And that's where it's that's part of why I think we've been able, well, I know why we've been able to make such progress in such a period of time, is because we invested to ourselves monetarily, as well as the time and the energy, the effort follow that as well. Because, yeah, I'm a pretty firm believer you can figure this stuff out. Most things you can figure out yourself. It's just faster. And you can go on to do better things. We all learn from mentors in some way, shape or form. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Okay. So, yeah, that's one of my biggest things. And then you just got to be willing to do what you got to do. And then be like, Timmy. All right, that's all for this one. Remember, this is all the art of being, man. Embody that, and it'll be all gravy, baby. Let's go.